guys, I'm Coach Raymund Suba. I'm from 𝘕𝚤 or 𝘋𝘬𝘪𝘆 Martial Arts Organization. We are an earnest group that primarily deals with youth sports. So my background is with arnis, played competitively. I've been a national heavyweight champion multiple times. I've represented the Philippines abroad to demonstrate arnis in the international sphere. So today's lesson is going to be a basic arnis lesson. So for people who have zero idea of martial arts and what arnis is all about, this is going to be a great lesson for you guys. You're going to learn the basics of arnis, the basic movements, and the foundation. For some people out there who already know a little bit about martial arts, this is going to be a great way for you to understand what makes Filipino martial arts a little bit unique compared to other martial arts like Japanese martial arts and Thai martial arts. Alright, the first thing that we're going to learn is the courtesy or ang pagbibigay-pugay. This is something that we do at the beginning and at the end of every lesson. This is a way for us to say thanks to the teachers and to connect ourselves with the history and the culture behind it. So the way we do it is if you have two weapons or two sticks, we call them baston, right? You take one, take the right hand, bring it across your chest, left hand goes up, and then you just nod your head in courtesy. All right? So we don't bow from the waist. All right? We just do this and go. All right? So officially, let's start it. Handa sa pagpugay. Handa? Pugay. After that, I'm going to teach you guys how to hold the stick. All right? Holding the stick is probably the most basic thing for us to do. What we're going to do is what we call the three-fingered grip. Right? So, bakit siya three-fingered grip? It's going to be 3 fingers away from the bottom of your stick. Then you're gonna grab it like so. Alright? So that's how far away your hand has to be from the bottom of the stick. Alright? Hindi natin siya hahawakan ng ganito, what we call sakal. This is an advanced move, no? So for us guys, for beginners, we're gonna start with this 3-fingered grip. Now your hand is gonna be in what we call the OK grip. Alright? So para siyang OK sign, right? You're going to hold like so. Alright, your thumb is going to lock over your index finger, and then the 3 fingers here, they're going to be relaxed. Alright, that's how you hold it. If you're holding it too tight, you're going to throw the stick away, right? You don't want to be too tight. You want it to be tight enough to hold the stick, but relaxed so the stick can move. Alright, so that's how we hold the stick. Okay, so now we're going to do the basic stances or how we stand in arnis. Alright. When it comes to arnis, the way we stand is very natural. We're not gonna do anything na you're contorting your body in a natural movements. Whatever is natural for you is what we're gonna do. So, the basic fighting stance for the single stick. So the basic fighting stance for a single stick is you stand with your right foot forward, right? So from shoulder position, you step, right foot forward, and then you bring your hand up to this position. All right, the weapon is resting on your shoulder, all right, and pretty high up here. All right, this is called the buhat araw position. All right, so for those who are familiar, buhat in this case, hindi siya buhat na carry, it's buhat na from, right? Buhat araw from the sun, right? Kasi pabagsak yung palo, right? Now the footwork is going to be here, very basic. So we don't need to be stepping too big. No, just make a natural, normal step forward, and that's it, right? Now, some tips to make it even stronger. What you want to do is bring your hip forward, all right? Or you're going to curve your spine a little bit, all right? So that you have this kind of position, all right? Where your spine is a little bit curved. This is a strong position for your body to have, right? Hindi siya yung nakatuwid, all right? Just to give you guys an idea why it's a strong position, no? If you're going to imagine that you're pushing a car, right? Hindi ka nagpo-push ng kotse ng nakaganyan, right? You're going to curve your back when you're pushing a car because that's your reflex. Your body knows that curving your spine is a naturally strong position. So when you're fighting, you want to keep that strong position, all right? And then your hands are up here, right? So this is your legs, right? Now, the next one is we're going to move forward and backward, right? The first step that we're going to do is called the caballero, okay? So for those who know Spanish, caballero means horseman, all right? Or later on, knight. So medyo horse-like yung movement niya. Ano yung itsura niya? So I'm gonna show it to you guys, right? Caballero means your right foot is forward, so you're going to move forward, right? Kung saan yung nauuna, that's where it's gonna go, right? So again, from this position, if I'm moving forward this way, right foot forward muna, right foot moves first, back foot follows, right? So again, front foot, back foot. Now if I'm moving backwards, same thing. Back foot, front foot. Back foot, front foot, right? So dito pa lang, we can use this as a way to exercise ourselves to make sure that our body is warming up. You can go forward, forward, back, back. Again, forward, forward, back, back. All right? So as you can see, you're keeping that strong position with the body. You're keeping your spine curved. You're keeping your knees slightly bent. So that's another tip I forgot to point out. You have to keep your knees slightly bent, right? Hindi pwedeng tuwid na tuwid, right? Part of the reason kung bakit tayo hindi tuwid na tuwid, no, is if it's too straight, right? This is very easy for an opponent to kick, to step on, and it's not very stable. That's number one. Number two, when you're straightening out, and then you want to move forward, asa taas ka, bababa ka pa. If you notice, my head is bobbing up and down. That is very inefficient. Kung nakababa ka na, and you have your knees both bent, right? You move forward. As you can see, the head level doesn't change too much. There's also another form of footwork. We call it the 𝘕𝘪𝘴, right? What is the 𝘕𝘪𝘴? So the 𝘕𝘪𝘴 is the same thing, right foot forward. By the way, no, if you're left-handed, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be left hand yung weapon, left foot forward. If you're right-handed, right foot forward, right hand yung weapon, right? So, next, 𝘕𝘪𝘴, right? So for you guys, 𝘕𝘪𝘴 means warrior or warrior step, right? Ang ano sa kanya, movement niya is it's a little bit more basic. It's a little bit more natural actually. So how does it work? Right foot forward, left foot back. Magsi-step lang yung left foot. And that's it. Very basic. It's almost like you're stepping. The only difference between this and normal walking, right? The only difference is you stay low, curve your spine, all right? Keep your knees slightly bent, and then when you do step, boom. Stay level, you don't go up, you don't go down. Keep your knees straight like that. 𝘕𝘪𝘴 moves like so, all right? Moving back, it's the same way. All right? Keep your eyes towards your opponent, your imaginary opponent in this case. All right? Move forward, move back, right? That's what you're going to do. So those are the two basic footwork that we have. Number one is the caballero, and number two is the 𝘕𝘪𝘴. All right? So what we're going to do next is the stick work, right? So kilala ang Ernest for using the weapon, the stick, right? Now, the stick can be a stand-in for a sword, right? So for Ernest, the stick can be a stand-in for a sword, okay? So a lot of the movements that we're gonna do, you can imagine that you're using a sword when you're doing it, and it will work perfectly fine, all right? But I will have to say that there are Ernest groups, especially like mine, who do Ernest or stick techniques that are designed specifically for the stick, no? Sword techniques are a little bit more, ano siya, a little bit more advanced or a little bit more esoteric. It's a very rare kind of skill to learn. Now, why is it that my school focuses primarily on using stick, right? The reason why you want to use the stick or train to use the stick as a weapon is because mas madali siyang makuha, right? When was the last time that you walked around na meron kang hawak na espada or bolo or something like that? Very rare, no? Madalang na sa atin sa modern life natin na merong hawak na bolo. Alright, so how does it work? We're going to start again from the buhat araw position, fighting position as always. Right foot forward, shoulder square. Pag sinabi kong shoulder square, it means you're looking directly at your opponent, right? You don't go like this and nakaganyan ka, right? You look at towards your opponent, right? And then your legs are appropriately pointing in the same way, right? Now, from this position, the most natural technique that comes out is the number one. What is the number one? It's going to be vertical down, pababa. Right? And 2 is stab pataas. Now they come as a pair, 1 and 2. Now traditionally, this movement is called baba-taas. Right? Very obvious. Di ba? Magagaling magpangalan yung mga Pilipino. Napaka-easy eh. No fancy name. Baba, taas. Baba, taas. Right? So you can already imagine what kind of attack this is. It could be a cut to the head, stab to the head. Right? Cut to the head, stab to the body. Alright? So pwede nyo palitan ng konti yung angle. Pwedeng ibaba ng konti. It can be a stab to the body. Alright? Pwede ito. You just change your angle a little bit. Instead of cutting to the head, you can cut to the hand. Pero yun pa rin. Baba, taas. Next one is the 𝘰𝑗 or number 3 and 4. This one. 𝘰𝑗, as you can see, right, is the letter X. Right? Gagawa lang kayo ng 𝘰𝑗. Now, one of the things that you have to learn when you're doing this technique is that nagsusway dapat yung body. Right? Body swaying. Alright? Medyo natural siya. Kung saan papunta yung katawan mo, doon din pupunta yung baston. Right? Hindi tayo masyado matigas. Right? Smoothen it out. Right? Okay, next one is the 𝘵𝚭𝘵𝘦. Right? What is the 𝘵𝚭𝘵𝘦? So for you guys who know how to speak Spanish o medyo na iintindihan nyo ng konti, right? 𝘵𝚭𝘵𝘵 means side to side. So very simple. Again, no, hindi complex yung pangalan para madaling matandaan. So side to side lang siya. It cuts to the side of the body again and again. Right? Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna point out if it's specifically this technique can be done with a sword, this technique can be done with a stick, right? Pag sword siya, as you can see where my finger is pointing, doon dapat yung talim pumupunta, right? That's where the blade's going to go, right? Next one that we're going to do is the 8. And this is going to be the last paired pattern that I'm going to show you guys, no? The 8, right? So from here, it's going to go down, up, and up. So yung 8 nito, like does the name implies, para siyang number 8. Kaya lang yung number 8 nakahiga. Okay? So hindi siya ganito. Dito siya, pataas, pataas. So nakahiga yung figure 8. Kaya siya tinawag na 8. And as I mentioned earlier, smooth dapat yung movement. Hindi siya, no, smooth. Sway your body. Keep your knees slightly bent. Right? And as you notice, my left hand is here. It's what we call an alive hand. No? Buhay siya. Hindi siya nakalapag lang dito sa, sa hita mo, or hindi lang siya nagpo-flop around. It's going to be up here. Mamaya makikita natin why we keep the left hand up here. Right? Alright. So, just to review, we have a couple of movements. Number 1 is the baba-taas. Right? Baba-taas. Next one is the 𝘰𝑗, alright, or figure X. Alright? Very simple stuff. Next one is the 𝘵𝚭𝘵𝘵 or side to side. Ito. Alright, so from here. And the last one is the 8 or figure 8. Alright, so from here, figure 8. Alright. So very simple siya. No? Now, what I want you guys to understand is, sabi mo, Raymond, ayun na yung mga attacks. Paano yung defense? Kasi self-defense. Diba? Now, nakatago yung attack at defense in the same movement. Alright? What do I mean? I'm gonna bring out a little tool to help you guys imagine what I'm talking about. No? So, this is my training tool that I use. As you can see, it has a wooden sword to help you visualize what I mean. No? So the first movement that I taught you guys was baba-taas. Right? So it's cut down and up. Down and up. Right? Now, how do you use that to defend? Like, let's say, for example, my opponent is cutting towards my neck, in this case, right? Pwede siyang, you can also imagine na baston siya, pinapalo ka ng tubo, or some kind of thing, right? Basta ito yung direction ng attack. Madali kasi makita yung direction ng attack if we're using a sword. No? So, andito siya. What you're going to do is you're going to adjust syempre hindi ka maka-defend pag ganito, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to cut down this way. You're going to adjust a little bit, baba, taas. Very basic, right? So he's cutting towards you, baba, taas. Alright? Simple, right? Again, baba, taas. So I'm gonna show it to you guys so you can imagine if you were attacking me, right? Like so. Okay, right? So hindi ako bababa taas here, right? Because tatamaan eh. So what we're going to do is if the opponent is attacking here, baba, right? Taas. Right? Again. If the opponent is attacking here, baba, and as you can see, the left hand is here, taas. Right? Again, one more time to show it to you guys. Opponent is attacking in this direction, baba, taas. So it's that same movement. Ito, the one that we were doing earlier, right? And as you can see, I put in a little bit of the footwork. What was the footwork that I put in? Basically, it's the 𝘰𝘪𝘴 footwork that we learned before, right? So from here, right, we're going to move forward, boom, and up, right? That's the baba taas. The 𝘰𝑰𝑠 is about the same, right? For example, the opponent, sabihin natin dito para medyo mas fun, para mabago naman yung angle, right? Opponent is angling to hit me at this part of my head, right? So, ang gagawin natin, the X figure. So, how does it work? Ito pa rin. You cut across, use your left hand, cut towards the opponent. Again, slowly. Cut across, use your left hand, cut at your opponent. So, let's do it a little bit faster so you guys know how it looks, right? So, if the opponent is cutting towards here, right? Very simple stuff. So let's show you guys how it looks from this side. Right? From here, opponent is cutting at my neck, here, and there. Right? Defend, counter attack. Right? So again, one more. Defend, counter attack. And as you can see, the footwork that I'm using is a combination of the guerrero and the caballero. So I'll show you guys. Pay attention to the feet, no? So from here, caballero footwork, right? For my counter, guerrero footwork, right? So it's just a combination of the two. Very basic. Caballero, guerrero. Now, if you guys want to use this as a way to exercise at home, this is a really great way to exercise, no? Para siyang shadow boxing for the people who are familiar with boxing, no? You can visualize your opponent, right? You're trying to defend yourself, right? Pumalo siya, baba, taas, right? Then the opponent comes at you again, whoop. Then you use it. Then you move around, right? You can imagine you're fighting multiple guys, pala Bruce Lee. It's fun to think of that, right? And then it helps you work out a little bit, okay? So the next one again is the 𝘵𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘐, right? The 𝘵𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘐 is very basic, as I showed you earlier. It's side-to-side movement, right? Now, when it comes to the 𝘵𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘐, this is a little bit trickier, no? I'm gonna show you a little tricky movement with the 𝘵𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘐. Ang gagawin natin this time, you're gonna take the offensive. So kanina puro defensive eh. Block, counter, block, counter. This time we're gonna take the offensive. So let's say, for example, I'm attacking you, right? I'm cutting towards your body. What's the natural reaction? Many arnisadors or many martial artists will defend with the sword, right? So, palo ako, whoop, block, right? Very basic. Everyone's going to block, right? Especially kung mabagal ako pumalo, right? So, what are we going to do? How does the 𝘵𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘐 work? From here, isuswitch nyo kagad. Boom. You don't, you can make contact, but you switch around very fast. So instead of switching around here, which is the basic movement that I showed you guys earlier, you're going to switch here and here. So, pag nag-block yung kalaban, then you hit. You can hit the hand, you can hit the head. The technique that I just showed you guys is hitting the hand, no? Nag-block siya, here. Nag-block, counter, right? Here, counter. Right? Medyo nababali yung palo. Right? That's how it looks in full speed, right? So I'm gonna show it to you guys from the side. So So, pinain ko sa kalaban. Here. Turn around. Right? Banday-banda siya. Na-modified, of course. Hindi siya yung basic na banday-banda. So, this time, I'm taking the offense. Pinalo ko, magbablock. Counter. And as you can see, the footwork is the same thing. Caballero pa rin. From here. Caballero. Kinigat. Guerrero. Right? Very basic stuff.
Okay, so next natin na gagawin is the 𝘰𝘅, no? I'm gonna teach you guys the application for it, the block and counter movements, no? Now, one of the things I want to remind you guys is that the 𝘰𝘅, banday-banda, all the techniques that I'm teaching today, there's more than one way to do them, no? So pinapakita ko, una, nag-defend ka muna, nag-block, tapos ka-counter, right? Or block, counter, right? That's one way to do it. But I also showed you guys na pwede, attack ka muna, ipapain mo. Pag kinagat yung pain, counter, right? Very simple stuff, no? Pwede yung paglaruan yan. So it's something that you can play around with on your own, no? So that's what I want you guys to do. Be a little bit creative if you want to start applying this component, no? If you have a target like I do, sobrang saya. You can play around with it. You can imagine hitting the legs, hitting the body, hitting whatever part of your opponent. So be creative. This is a Filipino martial arts. Creativity is one of the things that we really encourage. Sabi nga ng mga teacher namin dati, pag napaanak mo yung technique, meron yung term na paanakin yung technique, no? Meaning, bibigyan ka ng technique and then you can figure out other ways to apply it. Ibig sabihin, napaanak mo yung technique, mas gamay mo na siya, no? Hindi ka tulad ng tinuro ko sa'yo to, tapos ito lang ang alam mo. Hindi. Nag-iisip naman tayo lahat. So, think it over. Masaya siya. Next one is the 𝘰𝘅, as I mentioned. So, just to review, the 𝘰𝘅 is a cut up, right? Now, same thing. No? One of the things that you can do is, for example, I'm going to show you guys kung pain siya. Right? So, a lot of people are afraid of being cut to the leg. Right? Or papaluin mo sa legs, no? So a lot of people will defend against that by bringing down their weapon. Alright? So once you're going here, dinefend yung weapon mo, you can cut straight to the hand. We're gonna start today with the basic double stick pattern. Tinatawag natin na sinawali. Alright? So for you guys, Filipino speaking, diba, meron tayong word na sawali, right? Which is parang basket, no? So ibig sabihin yan, parang woven pattern yung kamay nyo. Dapat, nag-move siya across each other without hitting each other, no? Hindi ka nagbubuhol. So how does it work? We're going to start with what we call the position that we call 𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘢 position. 𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘢, which is right hand on the shoulder here, left hand here sa may rib. Alright? Then see the side, right hand up here, left hand up here. This is called the 𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘢 position. The opposite is 𝘕𝘢𝑡-mano, which is dito lang sa kabila. Left hand up here, right hand down here. Alright, but since we're training basics na muna, most of the basic training that we'll do, we'll start with the 𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘢 position. Right? So here is the 𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘢 position. Right? So we're gonna do the sinawali position, the sinawali movement. Right? So the first one is right hand moves first. Alright? Madali siyang tandaan kasi nasa taas. So right, and then you bring it across. Papalo mo siya. Right? That's number one. Okay? Strike number two is gonna be low here. Alright? So, ito, first three strikes niya yung pinaka-importante. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. 1, 2. Then the third strike, aangat to. Now, here's a funny thing. Your left hand is going to go palm up. Mag-twist siya dito. Alright? Ang tawag ng dati kong mga master dito, parang ka naglalaba. Alright? Ito siyang movement. And then, we're going to go forward with the right hand. So it's right, left, right. So again, right, across, down, 2, twist up, 3.
Okay, so ngayon gagawin natin, papakita ko na yung basic applications ng double sinawali, no? So, like I mentioned earlier, no, the double sinawali, the double stick pattern sa arnis, nakatago dyan yung maraming movements ng arnis, right? Na marami siyang applications. To the extent na some arnis masters, they believe na pag na-master mo na yung double sinawali, you're well equipped to deal with a lot, if not most of self-defense situations that can come up, right? So I'm gonna give you guys some ideas, like I'm gonna show you something like mga behind the scenes na mga movements dun sa double sinawali na yan, why people love it so much. Number one, very impressive siya tingnan, right? If you're doing a very fast double sinawali, right? Looks impressive, right? Pero, I'm gonna show you guys some of the applications. So much like the single stick techniques that I showed earlier, the movements in the double stick can either be an attack or a defense, depending on the situation. So let's start with the most basic one. Let's say, for example, my opponent is trying to strike me to the top of the head, right? So, basic, cutting to the top of the head, right? So the double sinawali, very simple, block, control. So ano ibig sabihin yan? Kasi kung magaling yung kalaban mo, pinalo mo to, gumaganti yan, bumabalik, malikot, right? Ang totoong tao malikot. So kailangan mo ng control dito. Right? So again, he's striking to the top of my head. Right? Control, right? Pag ito habang kontrolado mo to, syempre may pain din yan. When you hit the hand, boom. Alright? You need a little bit of pain para mag-comply yung opponent mo. Pagdating dito, then you strike to the top of the head. So, what does that look like? Double sinawali lang din siya. 1, 2, 3. Right? Very simple. Right? Again. 1, 2, 3. Right? Double sinawali, moving forward. Right? So, I'm gonna show it to you guys from this position. Let's say you're attacking someone. Right? So, from here, 1, 2, right? 3. Right? Ito, it can be a push and then 3. Right? Again, show it to you guys. So, double sinawali, block, block, 3. Alright? Very simple. Right? Yun yung basic. Right? Double stick. Now, let's give you something a little bit more advanced. Now, the double sinawali is my application siya, even with a single stick. What does that mean? I'm gonna show it to you guys. Let's say, for example, ito yung different attack. So it can all be the same. Very common attack, tinataga yung leeg. Right? I showed you guys kanina, the 𝘰𝘯𝑗, right? Boom. Ito, double sinawali will make your 𝘰𝘯𝑗 even more effective. What do I mean? So from here, 1, 2. Kasi pag may pag naka-double weapon kayo, it's 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 3. Right? So how will that look? Pag walang weapon yung left hand, right? So from here, 1, 2. Alright? Now watch. Yung double sinawali, umakit dito, right? For the 3. If you're fighting an opponent, you grab their hand, right? 1, 2. Right? Once you grab their hand, pull it, 3. Right? So if you imagine you're grabbing someone's hand, umaabante sila. Then you cut them at the head or strike them to the face, right? So let me again show it to you guys very slowly, right? So from here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, right? You're pulling your opponent. Para yung weapon is away from you rin. Right? Boom. So that is another application of the double sinawali, no? With a single hand. So even from the 𝘕𝘢𝘗𝚗 position, right? So 𝘕𝘢𝘗𝚗 is up here, right? So pwede din dito. Right? Then 3. It's the same movement. 1, 2. Tapos remember, sinawali, it keeps going back here. Pull. Pull and push. Right? So you're attacking your opponents. I'm gonna show you guys how it looks from this side. Right? So nag-attack siya. Right? Basic position. Block. Push. Alright? And then pull. Boom. And if you notice, this is the same double sinawali position that I was doing earlier. Boom. Right? So that's another application of the double sinawali without a weapon in your left hand. Alright? Now, what are some of the other applications? Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you guys want to see more of this, I suggest you get in touch with an earnest group near you, no? They'll probably show you something like this or a variation of it, right? But what I will tell you is, the movements don't stop here. Hindi lang siya double stick, single stick, right? Pwede din siya, tinatawag namin sa arnis is empty hand or wala kang gamit, wala kang armas, no? How does that work? Para na siyang boxing, but it's the same double sinawali patterns, right? It's the same double sinawali patterns, but with the empty hand, right? Just in case you get into a very dangerous situation and you're using knives, right? It also has an application with a knife, right? Mas smaller lang yung movements kasi knife siya eh. You don't need big movements. Not like with the stick, so adapt it a little bit. But it's the same movement, right? Very easy to train. My style is from Northern Luzon, no? So again, Northern Luzon, lowlands, very fancy yung movements, no? So you have the doubles sinawali. What I'm gonna do now, guys, I'm gonna do a progression of movements from the most basic to the most advanced. I'm not gonna teach everything, pero para magkaroon lang kayo ng taste on what it looks like, right? So double sinawali, this is the one I taught you guys, right? The next one is the redonda. Some of you guys may have seen this. Then there's the reverse. Then it gets more complicated from there. Right? Then even more complicated than that. Alright? So that's just a demonstration to show you guys na if this pattern, very basic, very straightforward, has a multitude of applications, right? Yung mga mas fancy na patterns, they have other applications as well, which are also fancy and also more complex, and they apply to different situations. All right, guys, so that's all the time that we have for today. I'm gonna meet you guys again next Friday to keep learning more arnis. So today we just finished some of the basics. It's our first lesson. We're gonna go to more basic stuff next time. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. So have a nice day, guys. See you next Friday, and let's officially end it with handa sa pagpugay, pugay. See you next Friday.